everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm Carissa Wiley here for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. I'm so excited to be here. We are talking about color today. We're color crushing and we're talking about a wintry color combo that I think you are all going to love. I'm super thrilled to be here. I'm going to be here once a month on the SCT channel, doing some live streams with all of you, inspiring you, hopefully bringing a little joy to your day. And for all of those who are freezing, today is perfect because we are going winter inspired, but I'm just letting you know that I am sending you all of my love and all of my warmth here from California. I pray that the sunshine just comes to you, but I think that you'll find the cards that we're making today totally appropriate. So I'm super excited to be here. If you have not already, a couple things we want to ask you to do is go ahead and subscribe to this channel. There's going to be plenty of inspiration to be had throughout the year, throughout the month. And you don't want to miss any of it. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. That will let you know anytime a new video is posted here on the SCT channel. And finally, give this video a thumbs up. We love to see that you like these videos. And so go ahead and do that. I love it when you guys are in that live chat, chatting along. Feel free to ask questions, and I'm going to walk you through, I'm hoping to get through 2 cards. We're going to get through at least the basics of 2 cards and then 1 complete card. I may have to put the other card together off screen, but I'm featuring a color palette with Concord and Ninth colors and also products from scrapbook.com, and I think you're going to love them. So let's get down to the desktop and let's have the spoiler on the color combo today. Let me do a little adjustment on this camera. It feels a little bright today, so let's bring you guys down just a bit. I feel like it changes from day to day, but this is the color combo that we're going to be working with, and it is Sea Glass, Tide Pool, Lakefront, Ballet Slipper, Carnation, and Briar Rose. Now here is my theory in this color palette. I started out with the darker blues and thought I really think that blue speaks to kind of a wintry color palette, especially when we get past the holiday season. And so what I did was I built this in stair steps. So we have a darkest and a lighter, and then we went down 1 more to Sea Glass to make a triad there of colors that will make it easy to blend, but also make it easy for kind of mixing and matching, because they all kind of fall into that same color family. Although we are getting a little more green here, it still flows nicely. Now, you could definitely use these blues in a spring color palette. However, if I was going to go springy, I would make sure that my pinks were a little more on the warm side. And so what I'm going to do today is lean into the cooler pinks to make it feel a little more wintry. So the purpley pinks. Now this is Ballet Slipper, Carnation, and Briar Rose. They're a little bit on the cooler side. They're a little more purple than some of the other pinks that you might fall into, like a watermelon. That would be an example of a really warm pink. It has a little more orange in it. It falls a little on that warmer side, but keeping into this kind of cooler pink tone really lends itself to the wintry months. Yes, I will say the names again. It is Sea Glass, Tide Pool, Lakefront, Ballet Slipper, Carnation, and Briar Rose. And keep in mind, we will have links to these below. Now, another thing that I like to do in the wintry months is I like to use whites in a lot of my cards. I like a lot of white space. But sometimes I like to knock it back and use an ivory color in there as well. So we're going to actually mix and match the ivories and the whites today, and we're going to bring both of them in. But sometimes bringing in an ivory instead of a true white will help push it to that warmer side a little bit more to keep it from feeling too stark. So this brings a little bit of warmth in, but it's still a neutral where we're not bringing another color in, and we're going to stay kind of on the cool side of the pinks. Keep in mind, you shift these pinks a little bit warmer and you have yourself a perfect spring color palette. So we're going a little cool today, and I think we're gonna have a great time. Now I wanted to show you the products I'm gonna be using from scrapbook.com. This is Berry Christmas. Now it has the word Christmas in it, but if there is anything wintry at all, it is these adorable polar bears. And honestly, I've had this in my stash for forever and wanted to use it. And I thought a winter card would be perfect for bringing out this little polar bear here. And so we're going to use that along with the winter New Year die set to create our greeting. So we have a couple of options. We have winter wishes and Happy New Year here. For our options, we're going to use the winter wishes today because we're a little beyond the new year at this point. And finally, I have a basic from scrapbook.com that I use all the time, and it is this nested A2 arches. Love these because they're specifically designed to fit on an A2 size card, and that keeps the scale of them all great. So I've done a little bit of die cutting like before we went live. You guys, my morning has been crazy. I'm preparing to go out of town today, and it's just been a crazy morning, but I'm so super happy to be here creating because that always just brings me into like that focus mode. So I did a little assembly and die cutting ahead of time. So you can see I have actually a vellum layer for my winter, and I have the word wishes already applied. Now I didn't apply the word winter because I don't know what color I want to do it yet, and I need to feel the balance of it. But I thought I would show you quickly how this polar bear comes together. And I love that there's a lot of options for this polar bear because you have the little body. Let me bring in the pieces here. So you have the body, which has the detail shadows. They're a little hard to see on camera, but there's some impressions that are made by the die that create the leg lines and around the chest area and that sort of thing. And then there's also the little muzzle piece, the nose, the eyes, but there's also this shadow layer. So you could really create some dimension here. You can use this with or without the shadow layer. And finally, I have the little scarf, which has its own little impressions in it. Let me see if I can show it to you. And that I have die cut out of the lakefront, so the darkest. Now, a lot of times the darkest is what we want to kind of bring in the fewest amount. Let me get my camera to refocus here. In the lowest amount so that we're not overwhelming and creating a dark card. Now, there are some exceptions to that, but for the most part, I'm going to use the dark as the accent. So I'm not going to go too hard and heavy on the lakefront. I'm going to use it to bring in some depth. And let me just zoom you in just a little bit while we kind of assemble our polar bear here. So I just had my nails done on Monday and I'm back to a color that I love. So I'm going to start with some liquid glue on the back of the detail body piece. So there's a shadow body piece and a detail body piece. And all I'm going to do is just stack that right onto the shadow and place that down. So it just nestles right in there. Again, the shadow layer is kind of optional, but I thought it might help kind of, number one, sturdy up the overall die cut, but also give it some differentiation from the background that we're going to create. And also just kind of help it stand on its own. Just be a little more substantial on the card. So there's some options within here. This is the muzzle piece. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of ink blending on this, maybe a little bit of alcohol ink marker on this, I don't know what's happening with my camera today, but you could to kind of offset it. But the dimension alone, that added layer, even though they're die cut from the same exact color, is going to give it just a little bit of shadow to make it a little more obvious on the polar bear. So now I'm going to do a couple of drops here for the eyes of liquid glue and one for the nose. And I'm just using an embellishment tool. This one happens to be from Altenew, to pick up these smaller pieces and just place them right on top of those glue dots that I've created. How's everybody doing? Love this set of dies, so much fun. Yeah, I thought it would be maybe something you have in your stash from the holiday creating that you could pull back in to create a winter themed card. And little did I know, I actually planned these projects, maybe about probably a month ago. I had it in my head what I was going to do. I've never made these. I'm just trying to flip this over to the correct side here. You know how there's the right side of the die cut and the wrong side? It doesn't want to like cooperate with me. I probably planned this like a month ago, not knowing that it was going to have like this major like winter storm come through on, you know, on the country and up to our friends above us in Canada. I guess I'm below you guys. So I'm in the United States. There's been a major storm. I know that it's carried up into Canada. And so when I planned this, I didn't know how fitting it would be that we were doing winter. So I'm going to put his little scarf there on with a little bit of liquid glue and just give the end of that scarf a little turn up, not the vegetable, but just a little bend to give it a little bit of dimension. Totally optional. In fact, if you want to make this scarf feel really like cozy and warm, you could stack up a couple of layers behind it to bulk it up, or you could even use a foam adhesive to kind of give it a little more bulk. Okay, so now that we have our polar bear put together, see how easy that comes together? Just a few die cuts. We have a couple of polar bears because if we can, we're gonna make 2 cards. If we cannot, we're gonna make the, like I said, the base of 2 cards. And I'm gonna put one together and I'll put the other one together off screen if I need to. So now let's go ahead and zoom back out. So I know that one thing that people struggle with when they're using color palettes is sometimes we have, like this color palette especially has 6 colors. And sometimes it's hard to know exactly how to use all 6 of those colors. So I'm gonna give you a couple of options for using 6 colors. I literally do not know why my camera wants to be a little bit finicky on the focus today. So one way that I love to use a 6 color palette is color strips. And this is a really easy way to bring in a lot of color really quickly without overwhelming the card. I am kind of weird about my strips. I do not like them in perfect 1/4 inch increments. Now, if 1/4 inch is super, hey, Scrapbook and Cards Today is here. Or I mean, scrapbook.com is here. We're using the Berry Christmas die set as well as the Winter New Year. I saw both of those names in the same comment. But I'm really weird. I like to do a little bit less or a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch to bring my strips together. It's just a preference. If 1/4 of an inch is good for you, just cut it at 1/4 of an inch. So what I'm actually using is 3/16 of an inch. It's just a tiny little mark down from the 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna cut these into strips, okay? So I'm gonna use all of my colors, except I'm gonna skip sea glass because I'm gonna place these on a sea glass base. And so that is going to bring that sea glass in another way without it being a strip, because I really do feel like an odd number of strips is better than an even number of strips. And I'm really not sure if we're gonna bring these in on the actual arch itself, or what we may do is put it on the card base and do a white arch over the top. I kind of have not fully decided that yet. It's always an adventure when you come along live with me because generally speaking, I have not made the cards before. And so I'm just, I have a picture in my head and I just go for it. Okay, so, I mean, I have them planned. I think I know what they're gonna do, but I don't ever know exactly how it's going to come together with that. Now, there's 2 ways color order matters. The order that you put these colors in on your card will make it feel it can make it feel off balance or it can make it feel right. If you stick in a kind of light to dark colors together pattern, and then we're gonna go dark to light, that's gonna definitely be a nice cohesive look. But here's what I see when I see this, okay? I'm gonna just pretend like we've cut these off. Do you see, because my medium color is up next to my lightest color, it gets lost a little. So let's see what happens if we trade these out. Let's see if we like it better so that we are again moving light to dark. I don't know. I actually feel like this looks a little off in balance. Do you see how switching that color order actually does make a difference? So you may want to kind of play with your color order and see which feels best to you. Now, we have the option of doing this directly onto this arch that I've created with the nested A2 arches from scrapbook.com. So we could do this and add some color really quickly and create a really fun, almost like retro feeling design here with the color rays, and bring in our sentiment, which I haven't decided on the color for this. Or the other option we could do is we could bring it in on the card base itself and tuck it behind. So let's see what we like more, and then we will make a decision in an instant. Sometimes you just gotta play with the pieces. Like, you know what pieces you wanna use, but you just gotta play with them just a little bit to make it all work. So I'm gonna score this. This is 5.5 by 8.5 inches. I'm gonna score it at 4.25, making an A2 size card base. You could definitely do dark to light as well, and that would change it up. So, but it was just really to illustrate that color order can really make a difference in how the card feels when it's finished off. So I really just wanted to show that. I think this is actually my favorite, that light to dark, dark to light, so that the weight of the color palette stays towards the center of this design. So this is kind of what it would be like if we take this and we place it here. This is another fun option to bring together, and it gives our polar bear a little more space between the color to make it feel like he's standing on his own. And I really think that while this you don't see as much of the color, I feel like this overall design makes sense. How's everyone doing? Hey, Mindy. I see so many friends here today, and I just want to thank you again for being here. It's so much fun to hang out with all of you, and I am just thrilled to be here with all of you. So we will have our winter wishes there, and I think that's how I feel good. So we may do a little something to this arch to make it feel a little more special and filled in. But keep in mind, a clean and simple card can really go a long way. So I'm gonna start. Do you guys ever get the fuzzies on your cardstock? Like, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little bit of fuzz. I'm gonna run my finger down this and just kind of take some off. You can also use a, this is a more cottony, fibrous cardstock, so sometimes you get that when you use a sliding blade trimmer. A rotary blade trimmer on a cardstock like this, where you're getting a lot of that paper fuzz, will probably make a difference. So keep that in mind. A rotary blade trimmer on some of those cardstocks that tend to be a little more fibrous can really be your friend. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that fibery edge in towards my design so that it's not quite as obvious. And I'm going to get one of those color strips down here, and then I'm just going to start adding the strips of glue that I need for the next one, or the lines of glue, and start adding my next strip. And then I probably could have been a little more conservative and slid it over a little bit so I wouldn't have to trim off quite as much on one side and the other. So I'd have some more strips left. But let's be honest, I didn't think of that. So let's do this. So this is the Briar Rose. It's a great cooler tone pink. It's leaning towards purple. It can go into a purple for sure. Like it could be considered a purple, but it's definitely, when you put it with the pinks, it's definitely a pink. So it's kind of one of those I like to call them chameleon colors. Like, is it pink? Is it purple? Is it pink or is it peach? Some of those are like that. So now this is one way to quickly use a palette, right? There's a lot of color on here. We've brought in a lot here, but another way that we can do that, and we're going to do that in just a bit, is blending the colors onto a background. So this is the first little peek at how we can use all of these colors in one go, just like that. And this is a simple enough design where you could actually take this and just almost just put the polar bear without the arch. I mean, adorable, right? I still feel like you guys are a little bright. Maybe my screen's just too bright. I don't know. Let's bring you down just a little. Right there-ish? Okay. So you could even just put your polar bear here. You could do a little bit of a stamped sentiment, and this could be done. I mean, it really could. But and you could even like put your winter wishes kind of overlapping some of those colors. But I really love the idea of the arch. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my nested A2 arches here. I used the 5th one down. So 3, 4, 5. This is the one I used to cut this arch here. And I am going to take a piece of glitter cardstock. This is a white glitter cardstock. And I'm just going to take a scrap of it here. And I'm going to cut another arch. Stay with me here. This will be worth it. Okay, so let's just slide this in and die cut it on my die cut machine. You guys doing okay? Marta, thank you. She said Carissa picks the best color combos, and I'm crushing on her craft space. You guys are so sweet. Okay, so now we have this arch that exactly matches the sea glass arch. Now the sea glass is here because we're gonna bring it in. It's the 6th color of our palette. And I am just going to take, maybe I should pencil it out first because, you know, this is pretty brave to just, although I don't see a pencil. So we're just gonna kind of imagine a little snowy border here. We're gonna go maybe like this. This is brave. Brave, brave, brave. Okay, just like that. Little freehand cut. Now, if you have more time and you want to pencil it out a little bit first, that's a good idea. But I did not have a pencil here. So now let's bring in some of the ink. We're going to bring in some Tide Pool. These are brand new brushes from scrapbook.com. So I feel like blending tools are better over time, but these are brand new. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of prime my brush a little bit with the ink, dabbing it in my pad and just kind of brushing off on my surface. And then I'm going to bring just a little bit of this Tide Pool onto my snowy border. Okay, now there are dies that you can use to create a snowy border if you are a little more comfortable with that. And maybe our friends from scrapbook.com know one right off the top of their heads. I do not know that off the top of my head, but if you're not comfortable doing like a free form edge, for your snowy border, then you could totally use a die to create that as well. I want to add a little more depth to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lakefront and I'm going to go just at the very top of this and create a little more depth at the very top only, okay? Looks really super blue on the screen. It's a little more true to color in real life. That's the one thing about video. You know, sometimes just getting the colors right on are hard. It's hard to do. Okay. So now we have a snowy border. And here's the real question. What color do we want to bring in? I'm going to ask this while I walk. What color do we want to bring in on that winter word to kind of fill out our color palette and make it feel balanced? Now here's a part. I'm just grabbing some adhesive because I forgot to grab it before I sat down to work today. Here's the part where you can really throw a color palette off balance by, like, if the color is weird here. This is the Deluxe Adhesive Roller from scrapbook.com. Super comfortable in the hand. And I'm going to add some tape runner adhesive on the back of this and place it right on the bottom of my arch. And for the bear, I know for sure we're going to use some foam adhesive. So I love that we're okay on time. In my head, I thought maybe we would do this in the sea glass, but I really feel like it's going to lose its impact because we're working on a sea glass arch. Okay, so what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna grab that winter word. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are liking it. Briar Rose could be an option. I'm gonna try the white glitter. I think this could be a really fun idea here. Oh, pink. Christine says pink. I kind of like the white. I like that it gives it that snowy feel. I like that we're not pushing, because our color balance feels really good right now. I like that we are not using a color that might push it off of balance. And so I think this may be the winter winner. Okay, so that would be the winter wishes. I'm going to try it in one of the pinks, so just to kind of give you guys a little, see, I think this is going to be too much. Do you see how a large block of that might make it feel a little off? But maybe if we used the ballet slipper, it might feel a little better. Love the white glitter, says Melissa. Okay, so we're gonna try a pink. We have time. We have time. We're ready to go. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ethel. All this crazy weather everywhere. So we have, and where I live, we don't get snow and ice and all that. But I live in the Central Valley of California where we get bad fog. And people who have never lived here don't understand what I mean when I say bad fog, because they're like, oh, I would take the fog. This is the kind of fog that literally you cannot see the front bumper of your car at times. So, I mean, it's super thick fog. So here is the pink. I'm not lining it up perfectly. I'm just kind of showing you guys the impact that color makes when you're doing it in little elements. What do we think? So go ahead and let me know in the comments, you can let me know pink or white glitter. Yes, Diane Wells knows it. It is the Thule Fog. We're still an ice skating rink. Oh my goodness, Margie, that's so crazy. So you all can let me know. Do you want to see pink or white glitter? Because I think they're both great options. And what I'm going to do while you all decide is I'm going to grab my scrapbook.com foam adhesive. Now, love their foam adhesive because it comes in 2, 3, and 1 millimeter depths. So you can choose how chunky you want your card to end up. I'm going to use the 2, which is pretty standard. White glitter, white glitter, white glitter. Still love the white. Okay, most of you are going with white so far. Watching here. Love the pink. Pink is okay, but the sparkly white, pink looks awesome. White, both, and layer them slightly with an offset. Now there's an option. Okay, let's do that. Let's layer with an offset. I'm gonna make the pink my offset though. Okay, let's do this. Little bit of foam on my Berry Bear. Okay. The other thing that you could do if you want to kind of intensify the shadow lines on the bear is you could take an alcohol ink marker and you could add more shading with the alcohol marker to give the bear a little more, like make those little shadow lines a little more dimensional. So let's do this. We're gonna do the glitter on top and the pink as a shadow. Whoever said that wins the day. That's a great idea. And I like it. So we're just gonna go over to the right just a little with our top layer. And then we can glue it on our vellum and we'll place that right onto our arch. And card number 1 will be done, except for if we want to add a little like sequin situation or something, some confetti or something. Okay. Someone wanted to see it over the card. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay. I'm not being super fussy about this. I'm trying to keep my shadow layers even, but I'm not being like super fussy about, you know, how I offset it. I'm just making sure that it's pretty even and all to the right here. I think that no one's gonna see a little tiny variance in the shadow. So. All right, offset is a good choice. White, so pretty. Y'all are doing good? Feeling good about our choices? I hope that you were able to see when I brought that Briar Rose in, how overpowering and how off balance that color palette felt immediately when we brought in a big chunk of Briar Rose, like would have been for this winter word. It really did feel off balance. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Now that these are shadowed, you stay. And I am going to just add them here. I'm gonna do little drips of glue. This is probably honestly not the best way. You should probably flip the letters over and add them with glue on the back of the letter because you are risking getting a little spot where the glue is visible. But I found that on this shadow layer, I really did like kind of placing the first and the last letters and then coming in and filling in the others. So that way I knew exactly where the W and the R should go. And because we've offset these, remember, we have to compensate a little bit for that. So good way to do this is hold it with your tweezers, put the glue on and then place it down. I'm mostly just making sure that my glitter layer is centered up where it should be on that shadow layer. That's kind of how I'm lining it up. So you can see my T and my E slightly overlap because of the shadow layer that we added. Who has pink tweezers? They're old, 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 old. All right, one more letter, the I. The offset looks great, not gonna lie, makes it a little more challenging to place on the shadow. But super cute overall. It's a little bright there. Can you see it? We'll have some pictures up later on too, to where you can check this out. Okay, let's remove the backer from the foam adhesive. We're gonna get our little pulley, our pulley bear here, our little guy on. Then we're gonna add some, you know what I want? I want these. These are gonna be perfect for hiding behind this, this vellum. Rainbow assortment tweezers. Let's do this. These are little foam adhesive strips from scrapbook.com. So they're, does it say? This is what they look like. 1/8 inch wide. So what you do, you just cut like little bits and hide it behind these block letters and you'll be golden. Golden. Sometimes just having them already cut into that little tiny strip is so helpful. Then you can just make little pieces of them and put them behind the letters. All right. Then we'll remove the backer. Oh, SCT needs pink tweezers for sure. That's something Catherine and I have a deep love for, is the color pink. Both of us. Okay, I don't need this here because the R is going to overlap with my polar bear just a little bit, so I'm going to move that foam adhesive so it's not getting in my way. I'm going to put this kind of down here, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to add, Laura says, I have those strips, love them. Crafty, who is Tracy, says, I am still on the fence about using the reverse tweezers. I have a pair, but find I do better with my fingers. My fingers are big and they get in my way. So I find that tweezers are helpful, but there's no rule that says you have to use tweezers. But I could see how some people feel a little more in control not using tweezers. And I love that there are a variety of people who do things in a variety of ways so that we can all learn from them. Because I think that that makes a difference as well. Here we go. We're going to do this. I know it's wider than my other foam that's behind it, and that's okay because we're going to go on to white cardstock, and I find that when you have foam on white cardstock, you really don't see it a whole lot behind the vellum. So let's do this. So some of you are fans of tweezers and some of you are not. So team tweezer or team not. Now, oops, let's do this. Some of us might be tempted to throw this right in the center of the card, and that's not wrong, but I'm going to bring it down just a little bit here, kind of where it's sitting more in the zone of my color strips, maybe with this W right behind it, and kind of offset it to the right just a little bit. That leaves room for this Winter Wishes to overlap, and feels right to me. Okay. So now we have this little guy here, and I would actually go and put some confetti on it, but we are about 15 minutes from being done, and I want to show you another way to bring in a ton of color with, oops, gonna make a mess over here. Same color palette. We're gonna bring in a lot of color, but we're gonna bring it in blending instead of color strips, okay? So same color palette that we're using. We're gonna start with Ballet Slipper towards the middle. And I'm gonna be really honest with you, my Ballet Slipper needs to be re-inked. I have been using it for some stationery, and it is kind of on its last little limb here. So we're gonna bring in, this time, we're gonna focus our light colors towards the center, and we're gonna work darker. So we're gonna make kind of a wintry sky for the top, and we're gonna move into those blues for the bottom. Okay, Team Tweezers, I have 5 of them, a must in my craft room. Oh, Brianne's here, hello. Okay, I seriously wish I would have re-inked this before we went live to get some of this color down. Okay, that took a little more elbow grease than it should have, but we're good. So what I would do for card number 2 is I wouldn't change a whole lot about my layout. I would probably bring in my polar bear over this just like I did the other one. Maybe change up a couple little things, but overall really keep this very similar to the card that we just created. Now, as I'm blending here, I am going to kind of overlap my colors, and you can see how really cool this is feeling. These cooler pinks, kind of leaning in almost to the purple. Maybe they're purple if they stand on their own. Kind of a chameleon color like we said earlier. Okay. Now, the thing that we have working for us in this color palette is that, remember when we talked at the beginning, and if you're jumping in late, you can go back and watch this full live stream replay on the SCT channel. But it's that these colors are stair-stepping into each other. So we have a light, a medium, and a dark, which means that they will blend well into each other. So we don't have to worry about making mud, because these colors all kind of same family, blending in just like this. Okay, so we have our winter sky going a little deeper at the top. Give it a little bit of depth there. I love that you guys love the polar bear. I thought it would be so fun to use. Like I said, I've had it in my stash for quite some time, and I haven't ever used him. And I'm so glad you guys are loving him, because he's a doll. You could definitely change the color of his scarf, and that will shift the color palette as well, because you're bringing in a larger block of color. Okay, we're gonna go into sea glass here. We're gonna blend kind of over the seam of the ballet slipper. Okay. Just like that. We're going to bring it into the Tide pool. Right across the bottom. And for this one, I'm not going to bring in lakefront because I feel like I have plenty of depth along the bottom, and I have the lakefront in my polar bear's scarf already. So we don't really have to bring in the lakefront in our blending. We'll do that. And that's really cool. And it looks like a lot. I know it does. But remember, we're going to be adding some elements over the top of this, which is really going to make it kind of feel like that winter sky. Now, the other thing we could do is we could take this. Again, we could recut the same arch that we cut from before. I love that. He looks so cute on that blended panel. Okay, I'm gonna line this up. This is the same arch that we used before so that it won't go to waste. And I'm just getting the edges of this arch die cut in line with the die itself. Okay, run this through again. Aren't the colors fun? I mean, the blending is so pretty. Great way to bring in all of those colors and yet still have it feel cohesive and not be overwhelming. Like I said, I started out at the beginning saying sometimes we have these color palettes in mind, but we really don't know how to use that many colors on a card. So now that we've done that, let's do another snowy border. Do this. Oh, that's perfect. Isn't that perfect? I love that. Okay, I'm gonna add just a touch of the Tide pool on the top of this. Patty Ping says, wow, placing the bear on the arch really makes the winter sky. I know it doesn't feel like a sky until you get an element on there, right? It feels like just an ink blended panel. Now, I could take this and make this a floral card in a split second. All you'd have to do is grab a large floral stamp and stamp it right across here, kind of coming down like a partial thing. No color, just do it black onto that colored background or with a white pigment ink or white embossing powder. And instantly this panel becomes perfect for a floral card. Okay, how cute is our poly bear? Just like that. Ah, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get this down. I can't believe we're gonna get through mostly both of these cards in an hour. I had one polar bear put together, I had a couple arches die cut, but at the beginning we talked a lot about the color palette and the theory that we're using today to kind of bring everything together. We've talked a lot about how bringing in certain colors can throw off the balance if we're not careful. Don't be afraid to experiment a little, especially when you're dealing with something like the sentiment there at the end, to experiment with a couple of colors to see which really makes it feel balanced and complete. Oh, I love this. Catherine's asking, friends, as we plan future tutorials with Carissa, any suggestions of something you would like to see? So let us know in the if you're watching on replay, this is something great that you could leave us in the comments right now. You could let us know what you would like to see me do as we go live in the future here on the SCT channel. I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue or a little sedentary here so it doesn't want to come out. And I'm gonna just go with the wishes. Now, the little dot on the top of the eye, I consider those optional. I do know where it's at. It's stuck in my die, my actual die. So I may wait to put that on, but then we would have our winter wishes. Now on this one, because we do have more pink, it may make sense to bring in the briar rose. Okay, do you see how that kind of changed it? This one we had a lot more green, but we have a lot more of the pinks over here. So we could definitely use the briar rose on this instead. Let me see how we're feeling on when we get it on the card base itself before I kind of move forward, because I'm thinking white or cream card base could be an option for this guy here. I feel like maybe the cream might warm it up a little bit and make it feel a little bit better. And so I think I'm gonna go with cream for this. How y'all doing? Watercolor, oh boy, gonna push me to my limits. All right, I'm gonna cut this to 5.5. I think it's already 8.5. All right, and then let's do this. All right, just scoring that at 4.25. I think before I photograph these, I'm definitely going to add maybe just a bit of like some clear confetti to make it feel a little bit snowy. I don't know that I'm gonna love the briar rose, so I'm gonna try the pink here again, and maybe we just go with ballet slipper. Here's, for those of you chatting about watercolor, I'm just gonna give my biggest tip on watercolor. Let it go. You gotta let it do its thing, right? I think most of us really like to control our mediums, and watercolor is kind of one of those things that you never can just 100% predict what it's actually going to do when you get it onto the card, the watercolor cardstock, and kind of move with it. And so I think that we just have to kind of, number one, not be afraid to experiment, but also just kind of go with the flow a little bit. Yeah, let it go. Do a little, speaking of winter themes, do a little Elsa. Was she the one who sang it? Yeah, Elsa, not Anna. Did you know I am actually Anna's sister? I tell the kids at the hospital that in the peds unit, because Anna has a white streak in her hair. I actually have a white streak. I don't know if you can see it. I have a white streak in my hair back here. It's natural. I do not dye it. I've had it since I was 4 years old. Bright white hair. And so I really feel like Anna's sister. And all the kids used to believe me when I would show them the white hair. So I'm going to take it back to the face. We're going to wrap up here in just a minute. I want to give you a moment to ask any questions that you may have, to just tell you that thank you again for joining us. We are so glad you are here. I will be here once a month on the SCT channel, going live with all of you, bringing some inspiration to your craft room, chatting along with you, crafting. Would love more instruction on how to decide what percentage of each color to use when using multiple colors. So we talked about that a little bit at the beginning. I don't know if you were here, Amy, but I did talk about the dark colors, and sometimes the dark colors are the ones that you're gonna wanna use in most of the time in lower amounts. So you have some favorite glitter cardstock colors? There's a lot of companies with great glitter cardstocks. I always like to have a white cardstock on hand, so just keep that in mind that it's great and versatile. What kind of scissors do I use? I have a whole drawer of scissors that are mix and match. So they're great. I know scrapbook.com has some great scissors. For those of you, let me see if I can find them. For those of you who like a spring-loaded scissor, let's go here. Scrapbook.com has a nice fine tip spring-loaded scissor for detail cutting and helps with hand fatigue. So be sure if you're watching on the replay that you leave us a comment. Let us know what you learned today. Let us know what you want to see more of. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, to turn on the notifications, to like this video. I'm so glad you've all enjoyed this. I'm going to put this last card together, those few little pieces together, and I'm going to get some pictures up for you guys so that you can check out these cards, especially if you're watching on the replay. Spellbinders also has great scissors. Yes, that's what these larger scissors are that I use. They have great scissors as well. So most of the dedicated craft companies are going to have some really nice scissor options for you. Thank you all again for watching. I will see you next time, but until then, I hope you're warm and I hope you have a fabulous day.